My name is Dale Ofsoske. I'm from Election Services based in Auckland. I'm the Electoral Officer for all the councils in the north, Far North, Whangarei, Kaipara, Northern Region and the Northern DHB. Just by way of background, I've been running elections now for 34 years for my sins, so it's quite an achievement from my personal perspective. So, local elections. They're required to be held in the second Saturday every 3 years, so Saturday the 12th of October are our local elections. They are be conducted by postal voting, as they have been for quite some time. Now, unfortunately, we did try to have online voting as another option for these elections, but they were deferred, and we're looking quite positively to have that as an option moving forward in 2022. Just postal voting as per normal. Just over 120,000 eligible electors in Taitokerau. There are some changes to some of the council areas. Councils are required to do a representation review every 6 years, or at least once every 6 years, and some councils have done that. Whangarei, Northern Region and Kaipara have done changes, so there might be some boundary changes. I know Kaipara, for example, has a fourth ward. So look out for that if things are different when you get your votes later on this year. By way of national average of voting for local government, it is very disappointing. 43% was the average in 2016, up 1% from 42% in 2013. So it is disappointing. Highest, I think, was 2010, which was 49%. When the new Auckland Super City came in, but nevertheless, more than half of our people throw their votes out, which is very disappointing. Local government elections are quite prescribed. We must follow legislation, the Local Electoral Act and the Local Electoral Regulations. In that, there are lots of do's and don'ts. And that's really governed, I think, for the fairness for everyone, so that we have everyone's treated the same, we have the integrity of the process and that sort of thing. So what elections are there? What can you stand for? And we really do encourage everyone to think seriously about standing for local government. So we have Far North District Council with 29 positions. That's quite high because Far North District Council have community boards. Whangarei District, there's 14 positions. Kaipara District, 9. Northern Regional Council, 9 positions. Northern District Health Board, 7 positions. So in total, there's 68 positions that are open for filling later on this year. You can't stand for a district council and a regional council, so if you're thinking of standing for, you need to choose what you want to stand for, either the district or the region. But you can stand for the DHB or the District Health Board as well. So if you choose to stand for the District Council, you can also stand for the District Health Board. If you choose to stand for the Regional Council, you can also stand for the District Health Board. So each District Council elects the Mayor. We're all familiar with this, district-wide. Councillors, there are wards, and there are a certain number of councillors per ward that get elected. And for Far North District Council only, there are community boards, and those community boards are further subdivided into subdivisions. So you might have a community board area consisting of quite a big area, and that might be broken down into further smaller areas. For the Northern Regional Council, 9 councillors, as I said, they have 6 constituencies, so they elect a certain number of councillors for each of those constituencies. And the Northern District Health Board, that's elected at large, so right across the whole Taitokerau area, there are 7 members to be elected to the District Health Board. In addition to that, in fact, there are actually 11 members of the District Health Board. 7 are elected by the population, and 4 are appointed by the Minister once the elected members take office. So what are our key dates? It's not very far away now. It's actually just over 3 weeks, or 3 weeks tomorrow, that nominations will open. So you have a month then basically to consider not standing for office, and nominations will close on the 16th of August. Following that, we have the voting packs going out. As I said earlier, it's all by postal vote for local government elections, so they get posted out from Friday the 20th of September, and we have close of voting on the 12th of October, which is a Saturday. We declare the results on the 17th, and then elected members come into office about the 22nd of October. So these are just some basic key dates. So if you want to stand for office, what must I be? Or that's the question. So a candidate must be a New Zealand citizen, aged over 18, and enrolled on a parliamentary role. So you can be on any parliamentary role. You don't have to be on a parliamentary role where you're living. You can be anywhere and stand for a position. You can stand for multiple positions, so you don't need to limit yourself just to one if you don't want to. You can stand for mayor, and you can stand for a ward and council, and you can stand for a community board, and you can also stand for a district health board. And if you're elected to many positions or more than one, you take the highest of those. An employee can also stand over local authority, but they must resign if they're elected to mayor or council. Just some little side things there, that just if you work for council or if you have a contract with council, then you've just got to declare that. And there are some restrictions, further restrictions if you want to stand for the District Health Board. You can't be an undisclosed bankrupt, or you can only stand for one District Health Board in New Zealand. Okay, so on to the nominations. They open, as I said, on Friday the 19th, 3 weeks away. Nomination papers are available from all the council officers. You can also phone us on our 0800 number, and we can post one out, or that you can download one from the relevant websites. You can't nominate yourself, so you must be nominated by 2 electors from the area that you're standing in. So just be mindful of that. If you're standing, say, for the Te Huku ward, you don't need to live in the Te Huku ward, but you must be nominated by 2 electors from that ward. So what do you need to do? What does the nomination involve? So you've got to fill out an official nomination paper, as I said, that where they're available from the 19th of July. You submit that with a deposit of $200. So that's a deposit that for each position you pay that in. Most candidates get that back. So it's a form of a deposit, and then if you poll greater than 25% of the lowest successful, there's a bit of a formula in there, but as I said, most candidates do get that back. You can supply with your nomination paper a candidate profile statement. It is optional. Most, and if not all, candidates submit that, and we strongly do suggest that it goes out with the voting packs. So you may remember seeing something like that coming out with your voting papers. We strongly suggest that candidates put it in. There it is. It's 150 words, and you can have that in English. You can also have that in 150 words in Maori as well. So you can actually have up to 300 words, 150 in English, 150 in Maori. If you have other languages other than those 2 official languages, then it's a total of 150. But we do strongly encourage you to submit that. It's also an opportunity to submit a photograph. The electors out there really do read this, and it's a good opportunity for you to sort of campaign and express what your policies are, what you want to achieve if you get elected, a little bit about yourself, and of course it has your picture as well so that people can visually see you. Evidence of citizenship as well, we are asking for that for the first time this year. It's not a legal requirement, but we do ask to see that just for your own protection, to make sure that you are actually a New Zealand citizen when you're standing and lodging your nomination. Candidates can group together, so you can either stand as an individual, you can stand as an independent, or you can group together as a party or a group, and therefore have a ticket, if you like. It's over to each individual. Now, nominations, there's 4 weeks for that. As I said, 19th of July to the 16th of August. They close at midday on Friday the 16th of August, We do strongly suggest that if you are considering lodging a nomination, get it in early. We do check everything to make sure it's a valid nomination. If you leave it to the last minute and it's 11:45 and there's a problem with your nomination, you've only got 15 minutes to get it fixed. So really we do encourage you to get it in early so that we can get that checked and you can go away with a peace of mind. So, that's the nomination process. That's the first stage, the first proper stage of the electoral process. So I do encourage you to think strongly about that, strongly about standing. When it comes to voting, a lot of electors out there, they won't vote unless they can identify someone on the voting paper. So if you stand as a Maori and put your name forward, then Maori will look at that in their voting paper and say, I can identify with that person, therefore I will vote. So it's really important to encourage whānau to stand. On to campaigning. If you do stand, you can campaign at any time. We do have quite comprehensive candidate handbooks available. Basically, everything you need to know if you're wanting to stand. I've got a few here for the relevant authorities if you want to come and see me afterwards. They are available online and you can download them, but I have some available. Have a read of those if you're really interested. Be mindful of any election signs policies that councils impose on candidates, and it's generally 2 months out from the election, which is the 12th of August. If you're doing any promotion or advertising, you must have contact details. These are little details that I can help you walk through the process with so that you don't get tripped up. It's also in the booklets. They're just legal stuff that we want to make sure everyone is treated the same. In the booklet, I do refer to election offences. There are a number. Again, happy to talk to candidates. Be mindful of them. Those election offences are quite relevant. You can't treat or bribe and all that sort of stuff. They are quite important. And if you don't know them, others will know them and they'll try and trip you up as well. Social media, more and more to the fore. Great way to campaign. If you're thinking of standing, use social media. It's instant, it's far-reaching, and it's free. You can promote yourself, your policies, you can run polls, you can post videos, all sorts of things on social media. So it's a really great tool. Don't use council's media channels. That's off limits, mainly because council has to be politically neutral. And the last point there really is just cybersecurity. Just keep safe. Computers can be hacked and that sort of thing, so just be mindful of that. Campaign expenditure. Basically, you can spend as much or as little as you like, so it is your money, so it's not a council money or anything like that. I do have had requests over the years saying, when do I get my money back? And I sort of say, well, what money? They said, oh, well, I've just spent $5,000 on my campaign. When do I get that back? And I said, well, you don't. It's your money. So just bear that in mind. So you can spend zilch or you can spend whatever the limit is. But there are limits to what you can spend by law, and it is based on the population size of the area. So I've got an example there for Far North District Council's Te Hiku ward. Their limit is $20,000. So it does go on groups of population ranges. So it's all in the booklet, so if you are thinking about that, but what you must do is you cannot overspend that limit. If you stand for mayor and council, or council and DHB, you can't add those limits together. Okay, to get a high limit, you just take the higher of the two. You are required with your nomination to complete an electoral expenses and donation return. It's a form that just shows all the money that you got in or went out. That is a legal requirement for us to have that. It's a very transparent thing, and it's a public document. It has to be available for 7 years. Council puts it on their website and things like that. So just make sure that that is completed accurately. Getting more onto the voting, and this was touched on earlier, just by way of sort of a full picture, there are 2 electoral rolls compiled. There's the resident electoral roll, which we heard about this morning, provided by the Electoral Commission, and they do a superb job. They really do. We're really pleased with the job they do. They get out into the community, as we've heard. They have quite extensive campaigns, and then they provide the information to us as part of the service, and we use it for local government elections. So that's about 99% of our electoral roll. The other one, which is about 1%, is your ratepayer electoral roll. Many people may not be aware that there are actually two rolls, and that's really the second one is for non-resident ratepayers. So those people who live in one district and pay rates in another district. So it gives an opportunity to have a second vote, if you like, in another district. So I've got an example here that you might live in Whangarei. So in Whangarei, where you live, you get all your voting entitlements for Mayor, Council, District Health Board, Regional Council, but you might have a property in Kaikoui, for example, in a different territorial authority. So you can actually apply to that one, and you can get a vote for the Far North District Council. So you can vote for the Mayor and the Council and the Community Board there, but you can't have two votes for a Regional Council, and you can't have two votes for a District Health Board. So that's another option to get enrolled onto the ratepayer roll. It is updated every 3 years, and it is by application. It's not automatic. So happy to answer any of these questions afterwards or during today. And I've got my contact details coming up, so you can email me or talk to me by phone. Voting, we've heard a little bit about voting. So voting period is the 20th of September to the 12th of October. It is 3 weeks. Voting packs are delivered between the 20th and the 25th. Now we know that New Zealand Post Service is not as good as it used to be, but they have a legal requirement to post within that time frame, and they have given us undertaking to do that. You're able to campaign up to and including election day, so different to parliamentary elections, so you can actually campaign on election day, whereas at parliamentary elections you can't, and that's really because the voting period is 3 weeks rather than 1 day as for parliamentary elections. We do have special votes, so if someone has not received their voting pack in the mail, they've just turned 18, the dog's eaten or anything like that, then you can get a special vote. You're not denied that. So just come and see us at any of the council offices. You can phone us and we can post one out, and therefore you can have your say. Candidates not to collect votes from electors, please don't do that. It's just a perception out there that you are collecting votes and therefore you may be interfering with them in transit to me. So it's best that electors return it themselves. There are some exceptions that we have disabled people and things like that, or people that simply can't get out, that whānau can actually help them with that. But if, as a candidate, don't go door knocking and offering to collect voting packs from people. To me, well, my advice is please don't do that. That's not good. Voting closes at noon on the Saturday of 12th of October. Again, that's a prescribed time by law. There are no extensions for that. When it closes, that's it. If something comes in on the Monday, we can't accept that. So as the Minister stated earlier on, please encourage everyone to vote. It is really important. Every vote does count. Every vote does make a difference. And we look after Hamilton City Council, and you may recall that there was a very, very close mayoral race outcome in Hamilton in 2016. The Mayor won by 6 votes out of 33. There was 100,000 voters, 33,000 voted, and the Mayor won by 6. So every vote really does count. So it really is important to get that message out there. Please, when you get your voting pack in the mail, fill it out, pop it back in the post, drop it off at a ballot box. It really is important that we receive that back. We did talk about earlier on about online voting. If we could have had that opportunity in 2019, that would have really helped as well, because you could have gone online and voted. It's not an option for 2019. We're quite we believe it will occur in 2022, but certainly for 2019, cast your vote. It's really, really important. Nearly there. Results. We'll have a result about 2 o'clock on election day, which is a progress result, which is about 98% of the votes cast. Everyone will be advised, and final results will be available on the 17th. So As I said, there's a candidate handbook, one for each council here. I've got some here as a resource. Look at the legislation. Most of the legislation, if you need to reference to it, is in the handbook. If you're really serious and you do want to participate as being a candidate, attend a council meeting. Nothing's more enlightening than sitting in the back and watching the meeting unfold. Read agendas and minutes and that sort of thing, which are online. Talk to a council staff member. And what's not up there is a number of, about 10 I think it is, candidate meetings that are spread across the region from the 22nd of July. Come and see me if you don't know those dates, and I can point you in the right direction. That's also quite interesting to sort of attend that as well. And that's me there for my contact details. As I said, happy to take any calls. Phone me on the 0800 number or email me, and happy to take any questions. Kia ora.